You have made the budget before. You know exactly how much you should be spending on food, on entertainment, on clothes, on things you do not need. You have written it down. You have committed to it. You have meant it every single time. And then the month ends and the numbers do not match what you planned. This is not a discipline problem. This is not a willpower problem. This is not a you problem in the way most people mean when they say that. This is a psychology problem. And the psychology behind why people overspend is not random. It follows specific, documented, predictable patterns that are in many cases deliberately engineered by the systems around you. Today we are going to name every single one of them. Pattern 1. The pain of paying is being eliminated. Spending used to hurt. Not metaphorically, physically. When you handed over cash for something, your brain registered a genuine pain response. Researchers have documented this. The act of separating from physical money activates the same neural pathways associated with physical discomfort. That pain was not a flaw. It was a financial protection mechanism. The discomfort made you pause. It made the cost feel real. It slowed down decisions that deserve to be slowed down. Now almost nobody pays with cash. You tap a card. You click a button. You subscribe to a service that auto-charges in the background. You use a phone. You use a watch. You use a face. Every friction point between you and a purchase has been systematically removed. Not by accident, by design. Every major payment system in the world has been engineered to minimize the psychological pain of spending. Because less pain means more spending. And more spending means more revenue for everyone in the transaction except you. The fix is deliberate reintroduction of friction. For purchases above a threshold, you define $50, $100. Whatever makes sense for your income, you wait 24 hours before completing the purchase. Not because waiting is inherently virtuous, because it reintroduces a version of the pause that cash used to provide automatically. Pattern 2. Retail environments are engineered against you. The temperature in a store is not an accident. The music playing is not an accident. The smell at the entrance of certain stores is not an accident. The placement of essential items at the back of the grocery store, forcing you to walk past everything else, is not an accident. Retail environments, both physical and digital, are the product of decades of behavioral science research applied to a single goal: maximizing the amount you spend per visit. The lighting in high-end stores makes products look more appealing. The lack of windows removes your time orientation, making you lose track of how long you have been inside. The cart size in grocery stores has doubled since the 1970s. Not because families got bigger, but because larger carts produce larger purchases. Online retail is more sophisticated. The one-click purchase removes the checkout friction that used to produce cart abandonment. The countdown timer on a sale creates artificial urgency. The people also bought section exploits social proof. The free shipping threshold is calculated to be just above your average order value. You are not shopping inside a neutral environment. You are shopping inside a system specifically optimized to extract the maximum amount of money from you in each interaction. Understanding this does not make you immune, but it changes your relationship to the environment. You are not failing when you spend more than you intended in these spaces. You are responding exactly as the space was designed to make you respond. The counter is a shopping list with strict boundaries and the deliberate choice to shop when you are not hungry, not tired, and not emotionally compromised. Pattern 3. Identity spending. This pattern is the most powerful and the least discussed. Every purchase you make is not just a transaction. It is a statement about who you are, who you want to be, and how you want others to see you. The car is not just transportation. It is a signal about your success, your taste, your status. The clothing brand is not just fabric. It is a membership in a tribe. The restaurant is not just food. It is a performance of the life you are living, or the life you want people to believe you are living. Identity spending is not vanity. It is a deeply human psychological need playing out through the financial system. The desire for belonging, for status, for identity expression is as fundamental as hunger, and the consumer economy has learned to attach price tags to it. The problem is not that you spend money on identity. The problem is when the identity you are purchasing requires spending at a level your income cannot actually support. When the car payment signals wealth you have not built. When the restaurant signals abundance that does not exist in your account. When the wardrobe signals a version of you that is funded by debt. The reframe is not to eliminate identity spending. It is to audit it. For every significant purchase, ask honestly, am I buying this for function, or am I buying this for the story it tells about me? Neither answer is wrong, but knowing which answer is true changes the relationship to the decision. Pattern 4. Future self discounting. Your brain treats your future self like a stranger. This is not a figure of speech. Neurological research using brain imaging has shown that when people think about their future selves, the same brain regions activate as when they think about other people, not themselves. Your future self is psychologically a different person to your present brain. This means that spending money today, giving pleasure to your present self, and saving money today, giving resources to your future self, is not experienced as the same person making a sacrifice. It is experienced as giving resources to a stranger instead of enjoying them yourself. This is why the logic of "I will save more next month" always feels reasonable in the moment. Next month's version of you is not you. The sacrifice does not feel personal because the beneficiary does not feel personal. The fix is making your future self feel real and specific. Not "I want to retire comfortably," but "I want to be 62 years old, financially independent, with the option to stop working." The more specific the future self, the more real they become to the present brain, and the more naturally the present brain is willing to direct resources toward them. Pattern 5. The comparison trap. You do not evaluate your financial situation in absolute terms. You evaluate it relative to the people around you. This is called social comparison theory, and it is one of the most robustly documented patterns in human psychology. You do not ask, "Can I afford this?" in isolation. You ask, "Is this appropriate for someone at my level?" And your level is defined by the people you see most frequently. If your peer group drives certain cars, lives in certain neighborhoods, and takes certain vacations, your brain recalibrates its baseline expectations to match. Spending below that baseline does not feel frugal. It feels like falling behind. Social media has catastrophically amplified this pattern. You are now comparing yourself not just to the people in your immediate life, but to a curated highlight reel of thousands of people, many of whom are performing a lifestyle they cannot afford, sponsored by brands that pay them to display it. The comparison trap is not solved by disconnecting from social comparison entirely. That is neither possible nor desirable. It is solved by deliberately choosing your comparison group. The people you compare yourself to financially should be people building the life you actually want, not people performing the life that gets the most engagement. Pattern 6. Emotional spending. As regulation. Spending money produces a genuine neurochemical response. Dopamine releases during the anticipation of a purchase, not even the purchase itself, the anticipation. The scroll through the online store, the adding to cart, the browsing before buying. This means spending functions as a mood regulation tool. When you are stressed, bored, lonely, or anxious, spending activates the dopamine system and provides genuine temporary relief. The purchase is not irrational. It is a functional emotional regulation strategy with a financial cost attached. The problem is that emotional spending treats the symptom without addressing the cause. The stress remains. The boredom returns. The loneliness does not resolve. And the financial damage accumulates on top of the unresolved emotional state. The counter is not willpower. Telling yourself not to spend when your brain is using spending as emotional regulation is like telling yourself not to breathe when you are underwater. The urge is physiological. The counter is substitution. When the spending urge arrives, identify the emotional state underneath it. Then deploy a replacement that activates the same dopamine system without the financial cost. Exercise, social connection, creative engagement, physical movement. All of these produce genuine neurochemical responses that compete with the spending urge at the same level it operates. What these 6 patterns share, none of them are character flaws. Pain elimination, environmental engineering, identity needs, future self-psychology, social comparison, and emotional regulation. These are not signs that you lack discipline. They are signs that you are human, operating inside systems specifically designed to exploit every one of these patterns simultaneously. The person who consistently overspends is not weak. They are unaware of the specific mechanisms working against them. And awareness, specific, named, precise awareness, is the only thing that changes the relationship. You now have the names. The patterns do not disappear once you name them, but they lose power the moment you can see them operating in real time. The next time the spending urge arrives, you will recognize it as one of these 6. And recognition is the beginning of the only choice that matters. The choice between responding automatically or responding deliberately.